In this video, what we're going to do is cover the complete guide of how to start lean bulking. How do you actually track your progress, the calories, the macros, the training, basically everything we're going to cover in this video. So stay tuned. People, in regards to bulking, there are two types. There's lean bulking and there's dirty bulking. In this video, what we're going to discuss is lean bulking. In essence, the differences between the two would be the ideology behind a lean bulk is that you want to try gain as much muscle as you can without gaining too much fat, whereas a dirty bulk is a lot more free. You're not really tracking your calories as strict, and the surplus is usually quite a bit larger, which usually makes you gain more weight in total, which includes fat as well as muscle. When it comes to bulking now, what you need to do is establish your maintenance calories. If you're someone that's starting from the position of you've been maintaining your current weight for the time being, what you want to do then is probably apply a small gradual surplus, so 100 to 150 calories on top of it, and then see how much weight you start gaining per week, see how your training sessions go. Many people often think to jump straight into a 500 calorie surplus because that's what the kind of figure that's always thrown out when it comes to bulking online, and that's more a dirty bulk approach. If you just jump straight into like a big surplus, if you think about it, that's 500 calories every single day that you're consuming. In a week, that's 3,500 extra calories that you wouldn't normally have, which is going to start piling on the weight pretty damn quick. As just because you're gaining crazy amounts more weight per week doesn't mean that you're actually gaining a lot more muscle per week, because usually what it gets attributed to is fat gain and water weight retention as well. So don't go into crazy big surplus thinking that, oh, I'm gaining so much more weight, it's got to be all muscle. It's not. Now, if you're coming from someone that's just finished cutting and you want to start bulking and you want to do it nice and lean, personally, I would say don't jump straight back into what you called your maintenance calories beforehand. Say your maintenance calories was 2,500. Since you've been cutting for however long, your maintenance calories most likely changed, so I wouldn't jump straight back to the 2,500. If you're currently been cutting on 2,100 calories, what I would personally do is maybe add on 200 calories and see how the weight gain goes. Otherwise, you're going to start gaining weight a lot faster than you intended to, and then you start gaining a lot more fat. Alright, now we're on to the topic of how do you actually measure your progress to know that your lean bulk is going well. And this is kind of the opposite to what I normally preach when it comes to cutting. When it comes to cutting, I usually say don't focus on the scales too much, because sometimes people get so obsessed with trying to make the scales be as low as possible. So every single week they try and lose as much weight as possible just to see a lower figure, which isn't a good thing. Whereas when it comes to bulking, I feel like you should be watching the scale, but from a different perspective. You want to be watching it to keep an eye out for any big jumps in weight. For example, if you weigh yourself every single week and you randomly see that you've jumped up by like 3 pounds or 4 pounds, you need to then step back and analyze what you ate that week, or what did you do that attributed that. Was it your training? Was it you didn't go to the gym? Was it you ate too much food? Or a certain day you may have had like a cheat meal or something that went a bit too far? It's good to keep a mindful eye on it. So it's good to know how much weight you're actually gaining per week. My aim personally would be around ½ pound per week. 1 pound at the most, but even then I feel like you're pushing it. Obviously the scale is not the only way to be tracking your progress throughout this period. You can also obviously keep checking on your gym performance and your actual physique in the actual mirror as well. In terms of the gym performance, if your lifts are improving and your overall endurance in the gym is becoming a lot better and you're finding that your workouts are becoming a bit easier, you should constantly keep applying progressive overload and increase the weight. So yeah, if the scales is looking okay, if your gym performance is looking good, and in the mirror you do not look like a chubby fat shit, you're probably doing okay so far. I mentioned obviously tracking your physique in the mirror as well. If in the mirror you feel like, okay, I'm starting to gain quite a bit of fat, I feel like I may have gained a little bit too much weight a bit too quickly, the same with the scales, what you can do is throw in a mini cut. And essentially the benefit of a mini cut is it allows you to lose quite a bit of fat in a short period of time, and because it's in such a short period, you're not going to lose too much muscle. For example, a mini cut usually is between 1 to 2 weeks, which is a very short period of time. So the benefit of a mini cut is that you can lose fat in that period, but you're going to lose very, very, very little muscle, if any at all. So mini cuts can be a good way to kind of minimize fat gain during a bulk. When I was cutting, I was roughly having around 2,300 calories. So if I use myself as the example, I would personally go for 2,500 calories and follow that. The macros that I'll personally be following is 50% of carbs, 30% protein and 20% fats. And that works out roughly, in regards to me, will be around 313 grams of carbs, 190 grams of protein, and around 55 grams of fat. Because these macros are a rough kind of guide. This is what I'm aiming for every single day, but some days I may fall a little bit below, or some days I may go a little bit higher. The main aim is to try and stay as close as possible. Don't pull your hair out if you're out or in and out by like under 15 grams either way, unless it's fat. In regards to the actual training now, I'm a massive fan of push-pull legs. Ever since I switched that routine a couple years ago, I've seen the most results in my actual physique. I feel like the extra frequency I'm doing is a lot better than when I was doing the full-on bro split, so I'm going to continue on with that. Sometimes I do adapt it to a push-pull legs upper lower, but for the beginning stages I'm going to continue to follow my push-pull legs. I may adapt some of the exercises, but the actual routine is still going to be push-pull legs for the time being. When it comes to the cardio now, initially I'm not doing any cardio. If I do want to do cardio personally, it'll be like one time a week, maybe for 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, one of the final things now is a question that always gets asked is, how long should you actually be bulking for? And really, I always say it depends on your circumstances, because it all depends what you have planned. For example, if you've got a holiday coming up in 6 months, you can't be bulking for crazy long, because you're going to need at least probably 2 months to probably trim down. If you have nothing planned, a good solid bulk really should last a minimum of 6 months if you want to gain like a noticeable amount of difference. 6 months is a good real starting point to a nice solid bulk. If you're fairly new to lifting, I'd try stretch out for a year. And there is other personal things you may factor in as well. Like me personally, I factor in dating into how long I bulk. For example, if I'm dating someone, I personally don't mind having a little bit of an extended bulk, because if I'm dating you and I'm seeing you properly, you've kind of signed on for what I'm doing. You know I'm into fitness, you know I'm into like a growing period. You got to kind of sign on, I'm probably going to be a bit bigger for a few months. Whereas if I'm single, I'm not really seeing someone directly. I don't like being too crazy high body fat, purely because when you're single, you're going to attract more females when you're in a better shape. So personally, I try and stay a little bit more leaner. Fair enough, we are doing a lean bulking video, so the aim is to be as lean as possible. But when you're getting like 4 months, 6 months, 8 months in, you are going to eventually start looking a little bit bigger, because at the end of the day, the extra calories is going to eventually kind of add up. It's just the rate in which you gain it. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this video. I feel like I've covered all the complete summary for how to lean bulk. If you need any more information on how to start the gym or how to start bulking and things like that, I have a complete fitness guide that is in the description box, so feel free to check it out. So without further ado, peace out, stay getting gains, and I'll see you in the next video.